unmute. Perfect. Good afternoon, everyone, and I'm so thankful to be back in the studio for another great chat on celebrating Filipino entrepreneurs. This is where we discuss with business owners, innovators, and influential Filipinos who are paving the way and creating opportunities not only for themselves, but also others. My name is Alvin Adriano, CEO of TravelWise International, and I am so thankful for another great episode. But thank you for all of our viewers, wherever you're watching from. We really want to appreciate all of you. So in the comments, definitely put in where you're watching from so we can acknowledge all of your support. If you're watching this live, please hashtag live. And if you're watching on the replay, hashtag replay. We definitely want to make sure that we share this with all of our friends who need encouragement or just inspiration to find out what are their passions. But on today's show, we want to make sure that you really highlight the fact that we're talking to a Filipina, a tech savant who started her career in a male dominated tech industry. She was a pioneer in the early days in Silicon Valley. And today we chat with her about her story, her challenges, and how she was determined to succeed against all the odds. But as a reminder, we are always here to represent our Filipino entrepreneurs, and we're so glad that she has taken the time to be here with us today. I also want to acknowledge Jennifer Trafficanda, CEO of C's Consulting in LA, who visited our show, I think, about 2 weeks ago. But we really highlighted her drive to take control of her life and leave her corporate finance job to start her own multimedia marketing firm, which was a great story. And I invite all of the viewers to check it out on that episode. So shout outs to Jennifer out in LA. But today, I'm really eager to introduce to all of our viewers Vera Takakura. She is a really down to earth person who has the gentlest of heart. Her love to help others is reflected in everything she does, and her clients can feel the support too. She continues to break doors down and carve her little niche in the male dominated industry, and I'm truly excited to introduce her to the show. So instead of rambling on, let me tell you more about Vera. Vera Valencia Takakura is a freelance IT solutions consultant and an expert that has over 20 years of technical sales and support experience in corporate and enterprise environments. She started her own consulting business, V NEXUS, because of being unemployed. Same thing for a lot of people, but during the pandemic, this is when she realized she was able to help others and decided to put her experience to good use by helping others. She was pursuing self employment as a life and health insurance agent when it dawned on her that there were many small businesses that were struggling to survive. They were struggling with the innovations and the ways that the market shifted in conducting business and commerce remotely, especially during the lockdown. Along with the increased need for small to medium businesses to rely on technology, she also saw an opportunity to help in areas of small business that normally didn't have access to advanced technical resources and expertise. This gap became very apparent, and when she would talk to other business owners, that's when she that were struggling. She understood how the transitions need to keep up and how to do it so affordably. She was born and raised in San Francisco Bay Area, and she relocated to Southern California in 2002 to continue her career as a system engineer and eventually a technical account manager. Her passion has always been in technology and helping find solutions for businesses quickly. Discovering that she can help the small business community, especially Asians and women owned entrepreneurs, has inspired her to start her own business, pursuing what she loves and helping others at the same time. So please smash those heart buttons and give Vera a well deserved thank you for being here today with us. Let me go. Let me bring on the next Bill Gates. Hey
Oh
Vera,
gosh, I don't know.
how you doing?
Hey, how you doing? Thank you, Alvin, for having me on. I'm really honored, and thanks for the great introduction. I don't know if being associated with Bill Gates is such a good idea right now, but hey,
Oh,
I'll take
that's
that compliment. I'll take
that
that
is
compliment
true.
anyway.
That is true. And yeah, I mean, you have a great story. I mentioned some of the things that you did in your buy up, but in your perspective, could you tell all the viewers what it is that you do and your, I guess, your trajectory from starting in entry level in uh, tech or IT, and how that has evolved into your own company?
Yeah, sure. So you covered a lot in the introduction there, but as you mentioned, I'm originally from the Bay Area and have lived in Southern California, specifically Orange County, since about 2002. But I started my career there, and I call myself sort of like a Silicon Valley brat because in the Bay Area, usually when you're young, the first jobs you get, when you start is in the tech field because it's just such a really tech heavy and rich area. I really, if you want to know the real humble beginnings, it's I started out doing data entry back in the day when you could get paid $10 an hour for that, and sort of got exposed to computers at that time. And what would happen was if something would fail or hang, I I decided I wanted to learn how to work on computers so that if something failed in front of me, I'd actually know what to do with it versus waiting for the IT guy to come. But I've got over 20 years of technical sales and support experience, like you mentioned, and I worked my way up from that to being, like a PC support person to a system administrator, eventually a system engineer, and then ultimately a technical account manager. And I worked in a variety of bigger corporate and enterprise environments. But after becoming unemployed due to the pandemic, like you mentioned, I initially tried some self-employment, doing some being a life and health insurance agent. But with the lockdown last year and just the inability to have in-person activity and contact,
Yeah.
I discovered a lot of small business owners were struggling with how to shift their business to operate in an increasingly online and remote environment. So I was having conversations with several people I was actually a customer of, and I would find out they needed to either update a website or get one up and running. Or I actually had a client who wanted to figure out how to develop a mobile app for their business. And so I found myself giving advice and connecting people to technical resources, and basically a light bulb went off, and I said, hey, maybe I can get paid to actually utilize my years of experience doing this already, and helping solve problems for um, um, customers in the small to medium business that I used to do, for the larger corporate environments.
No, that's awesome.
So I saw a real need for small businesses to leverage technologies that normally were reserved for the bigger, larger corporate environments, and felt the market had really shifted to support it.
No, that's amazing. I think that's so important how the evolution of technology has shifted. I mean, you're in the forefront of like when technology really exploded over these last 10 years. Because I mean, I tell people all the time the iPhone's only been around for like 12 years, yet it's so a staple in our community now. It's like a lifestyle type of equipment because it regulates hard, knows where you're at, location services, banking. It's become one of those things that we can't live around. And so for you, starting in, I guess, in IT back then and seeing the evolutions, um, what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced? Not only with the your come up or you learning and developing your expertise, but also as a minority and also as a woman.
Definitely wasn't represented very much. Meaning, I remember being a system engineer in a company, and there was a team of 20, and there was myself and one other female who was Russian, and just that I guess if I look back, just always needing to be really good and solid technically with your information,
Hmm.
and just being confident enough to kind of like be shoulder to shoulder with your peers. So it was not easy, but I was always proud of the fact that if I could make it in some of these environments where it was is primarily male dominated, then I guess you could say I knew my stuff,
Yeah,
that kind of thing. But
yeah.
but it was underrepresented then, and I'd still say that in many ways it still is now. But I think there's just more visibility and awareness.
No, I think it's important now, especially with the year that it came up, to get representation in a number of industries. that have been, not so much promoting diversity as much as they can. Not also, with females and being such a male-dominated industry, having perspectives, because women are, they're able to come up with different ideas and perspectives on how to reach with technology. And I think, with you being a pioneer or a trailblazer in this industry, it shows to your level of expertise and knowledge that you've obtained over the years. And I think that's so important because you can relate that, to your own business and your own clients, because that's what, that's what we've gone to. People, businesses, organizations, they want personalization. They want people, consultation firms that they can talk to about their own problems, not cookie cutter. And I think that's one of the impressive services that you provide, so that they can have that, one-on-one type of environment, so that you can help them grow their business. And for you, I mean, when you decided to switch over, what were some of the key, I guess, issues or challenges that you've noticed that small businesses were facing during the pandemic, and how could you provide solutions for them?
Well, what I noticed is there's a lot of DIY people out
Yeah.
there. I'd say do-it-yourselfers, which is great. I think it's amazing when you take initiative, and they start their businesses with the minimum or sort of like the cheapest ways to get things done. But soon.
Hmm. Yeah. Yep. Yep. That's so interesting. And then I didn't want to cut you off because you put so much great information out there. But I think I lost you. I don't know if the video, I only see myself, so but I can hear you. So I don't know where you went. Can you see yourself on the screen? Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Hold on. Okay, there you go. I'm
There
sorry.
you go. Well, I know I didn't have any problems because I have a techie on here, so I was gonna, like, I'm sure she can figure this out. No, that's awesome. I mean, again, like, a lot of us, we know we have issues, we know we need help, but sometimes we just don't know. You hear all these fancy terminologies, software, hardware. People sell us so much stuff, but having a consultant that can kind of evaluate and assess our needs for all businesses is important, because how much money do you think some of these businesses waste on software and hardship? I mean, if you're going to scale really large, great, but most of the time, a lot of businesses had to scale down. They had to really pick out which were important expenses for their business. And I think that's really important that you were able to identify some of these challenges and pain points for these businesses, so that they can really minimize their costs and expenses that really curtail to their organization or their company. So awesome. I mean, I'm so glad that came up, uh, because it's important that people realize that the things that you do, and I viewed some of your website about the website development, automation. I think a lot of people don't know the power of automation and how that can help um, provide efficiency and productivity throughout the workflows. I know that me and you are working on something that on my business as well. But yeah, I mean, what else services that can you offer other people that they might not know that they need, especially now? You mentioned security, privacy. What other issue or services can V Nexus offer?
Well, so I like to think of myself as a service that right sizes your business, in the sense that, let me take a step back. I'm not your regular Best Buy Geek Squad where I just, like fix your laptop, even though I know how to do that kind of thing. I'd like to think I'm a little bit more advanced just because I came from this, sort of bigger, larger corporate environment of seeing business, more holistically, and seeing how technology can optimize or, streamline processes. So, I mean, I say I do web services because I can do web design. I can make it really simple, or I can actually consult on how to get like back end services, or more complex transactions set up. Um, and when I refer to that, I'm talking about like maybe an e-commerce site, or something that's a little bit more advanced than just a static website. I also do consulting on how to streamline whatever services you have, or even identify cheaper alternatives. So I usually look at how you're using technology, and or what things you're doing in your business, and how we can find a technology that matches, either simplifying or streamlining that. And one of the newer things I've been doing is I actually help clients that want to develop a mobile app for their business. So
Hmm.
I'm able actually to source the developer, help with the user design, and actually get customers or clients from point A to point B with whatever it is they're thinking of doing with something like that. So those are all kind of just, I would say, not sort of something you can just kind of go online and find a quick and easy service for.
No, yeah, I think it's important that we all you do customize everything because every business is different, every person is different, all messaging is different. So having that really helps you target your audience and find the right leads for yourself. I want to mention, I don't know, like if you heard, I think it sounds like you're echoing. I don't know if there's like two, maybe because when you logged in twice.
Let me go out and go back in. Hold on. Let me see.
All right,
Is that,
perfect. Yeah, a lot better. Perfect.
well, technology? I told you it's not reliable. Something.
Yeah, it's not the best, but it's okay. We're working through it, right? Um,
Yeah.
but with all the challenges that you face and you've seen, I mean, you've been in in the industry for a long time, and you've seen the ups and downs, you've seen the innovations. But what are some of the things? Well, what are some of the I guess the things that small businesses should be aware of coming now, especially coming learning. I guess the evolution of the virtual space now, um, and being able to be more accessible through mobile apps, like you mentioned. What are some guidance or tips that you can advise small businesses now to focus on going into 2022?
Um, there are a lot of online platforms there that usually take care of most of the minimal things that businesses are trying to achieve, either whether it's having a robust and reliable website, or you know uh, business environment online. And it's funny because people don't know what they don't know, so they try to figure this stuff out themselves. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with do-it-yourselfers trying to do it themselves, but more often than not, it's just that there are a lot of platforms out there that can take care of the things that they think they need to do themselves. And usually it's subscription based or subscription fee based, where you
Hmm.
pay monthly for it. But it's being able to know what of those types of subscriptions would make the most sense for them. So I've noticed two extremes: either the business owner doesn't get enough of whatever it is they need for the business, or they go overboard. So I think it's just there's a lot more choices out there. There's a lot more services out there. It is not an easy thing for a person who's not technical to try to understand and sort of sort through all this. But that's hopefully where, I can come in and just have a quick conversation with someone and understand what they're trying to do, and just help, and give guidance on it.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's getting more tech savvy when, when I see my son coding and doing source code and figuring out, it's just like I'm never going to learn this. And so, I mean, technology has evolved in so many ways, and we talk about AI, and automation, and there's are going to be like key components for successful businessing soon with chat boxes. And so, what is your take on this? I mean, like, do you think this is going to be the new like marketing tool, like websites? When the internet came out, websites, you had to have a website. Then when Facebook and social media came out, then you said you got to be on social media. Now we have AI chat boxes. We have people talking to computers. Like I don't even realize I'm talking to computers sometimes. But people are like one man, two man shops, but they can achieve so much. How do you think automation and AI will play a big part, or do you think it will be a big part in small businesses in the future?
I think it's definitely going in that direction. I mean, 10 years ago, nobody was thinking of, transacting the way they do now with Venmo and PayPal and
Yeah.
some of these online ways to transact business. And like I said, because of the lockdown, there was a real huge shift, and I saw the market change, and it was kind of a strange observation, or it was weird to kind of notice that people were forced to figure out how to survive online and digitally, or else, because you couldn't go to a brick and mortar. And
Yeah.
so, right now, because we're slowly sort of quote unquote going back to normal, people might think, oh, we don't need that. But I think some businesses have realized that as they've shifted to it, once they start doing business a certain way and that becomes the standard, that's the way it's going to be from now on. So I think that, um, all the automation, the AI, the chat boxes you mentioned, etc., those are all going to slowly just become the standard, and are going to be adopted, over time, because everyone's trying to figure out how to do business where they don't have to have a physical location. That
Yeah.
actually brings up a good point for one of the clients I have now that I'm doing some, project work for. Um, there's this whole idea that, of virtual kitchens or ghost kitchens, where people don't have to have a physical restaurant anymore to be able to cook and, sell food. So now there's this idea of creating an online marketplace to put people who want food and people who want to cook food together. So it's just like that is a shift in the way business is being done, through technology and automation, and online presence. And so this is just going to continue to grow. I don't foresee it going away anytime soon. And I think the, small businesses, the faster they can adopt to understanding how their businesses transition to this, the greater their chance for actually growing and expanding versus getting left behind because they didn't know to adopt some of these types of technologies.
Yeah, I mean, it goes over my head all the time. I'm just like looking at things and the collaborative and these apps that people have. I mean, it's just amazing how technology has transformed itself not only into like, equipment and hardware, but into lifestyles. I mean, they really solidified themselves as monikers when it comes to hip and modern, like what Apple has done, and even just the design of these peripherals, with the watches, the video chat, Bluetooth, and now basically being able to have virtual spaces, remote spaces from anywhere. What I mean, I don't know if you can answer this, but what do you think is the possibilities for the future? I mean, do you think, one day we're going to be able to like do transactions, um, like swiping things, like so, like everyone has QR codes and instead of credit cards, and we're just charging things by
Well, I
like,
mean, Amazon's doing that now with their Amazon Fresh store. I mean, I
yeah,
mean, it's funny, you walk through the store and you don't have to pay. It's like it automatically scans everything. Unfortunately, I mean, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, uh, privacy's, your, user privacy is becoming, a big, controversy as far as, whether you want that kind of technology around you. So it's sort of like got its pros and cons to it. It's not, even though it sounds fantastic, it also has, it also makes you think a little bit more on, well, do I really want everything, do I want my life to be scannable?
Yeah, yeah,
But
right.
but it is going in that direction. I don't know for sure how it's going to, um, how quickly that's going to transition, but it sure
Mhm.
does seem like the trend is it's going to go, it's going to be an increasing probability or development that we're going to see.
Yeah, yeah. I think the world in public is now they prefer convenience over privacy at this point now, because things are just so easy. I mean, like my kids can buy anything by themselves. I mean, now I'm
Yeah.
so glad there's like finger security now with the passcode, the fingerprint sensor. I'm just like, okay, they can't buy anything now, but who's to know? I mean, soon enough, like we might be able just to look at things and ordered and it's sent to your house
No,
and you
yeah, I know. Well, yeah, that's pretty wild, and,
have.
and they're gonna have to put some biometric, controls around stuff like that. But yeah, no, understood. I just went through the headache of my kid buying a bunch of in-app purchases through her iPad. So I
Mhm.
know kids, the accessibility and ability to do that is really easy now too.
Well, let's switch gears. We can talk tech in the potential of tech for so long, but I really want to
Forever.
talk about, yeah, forever. I mean, like like I think Richard Branson just went to space or something, and I'm just like,
Yeah, he went. Yeah, he did.
yeah, right. And it's just like, oh my gosh, what now? What like
Yeah,
I still travel. I think I might have to get into
you're gonna
space
start
travel
doing,
too.
yeah, yeah, moon trips or lunar
Moon trips
trips.
there to the moon. So you buy Dogecoin to go to the moon on Richard Branson's Virgin Space Atlantic.
God, I wonder how
Plane.
much that's gonna cost. But anyway,
Okay, so let's talk about I guess your career, and going through IT. Certainly everyone knows that through life you have to get through failures. There's going to be times that you make mistakes. But as an entrepreneur, as a woman in this industry in IT, you face obstacles. But even more so when you started your own businesses. What are some of the failures and how were they stepping stones to making you more confident as an entrepreneur today?
um, oddly enough, like I mentioned, I when I became unemployed, I had to sit there and try to figure out what to do next, and I did the life insurance thing just because it seemed like an easy thing to pursue. But um, I started to look for resources that would allow me to expand and get more exposure. And I actually joined a program in February called SMBG, which is a social media business group that teaches uh, people how to leverage social media and get more exposure. So that was one of the things I did for myself, simply because I noticed, like I said, because of the lockdown, if you can't meet people in person, how are you going to have any reach, or how are you going to market yourself? So that was really critical in helping me um, recognize and see where small businesses were, just because there were a lot of small business people in there, and recognize that there was this gap in niche of technology needs that I noticed, and helped me, and actually was the catalyst for encouraging me to do to start consulting like this in the first place.
No, I think that's important. I mean, the pandemic allowed us time to look back and reflect on what we want, what was our purpose, what we want to pursue, and identify our passions. And I think we all, so for some of the viewers who may not know how important coaching is or professional development, um, being in a community with other like-minded people or people who you can brainstorm can create some of the best ideas, things that can innovate and leave influence in your own personal, and be able to use that in a way that is productive and efficient for your own self. And I think that's an important fact that you mentioned, especially for your business. Consultation isn't something that people are regularly using, especially small businesses, because they, like you said, like to do it DIY. If a small business or entrepreneur was, maybe borderline on the fence about like, hey, I don't know if I want to use an IT solutions, company. What are some like characteristics or things that you would suggest? Like, hey, if this is you, you might want to come talk to me because I can help in a variety of ways. What are some of the characteristics of someone that you would work with?
Um, I think it's just when people are not sure whether what they're using is still valid or effective for their business, or um, people that are just getting confused looking at the different solutions out there. Really, in my approach is to just have the conversation to help. I mean, if I can suggest something to someone and it doesn't cost them anything and it helps them, that's bonus to me, because hey, I showed you how to achieve something and not have to spend for it. But at the same token, if in that conversation and in the questioning, I find it's a little bit more of an advanced need, then I'm like, hey, I might be able to help you. And, that's where I'll bring up, hey, I can consult and assist you with this. What's your budget? Let's see what we can find to right size into, your specific need. So I think it's just really having that initial conversation, and, and having that casual talk about what it is you're trying to do with your business. But it does need to start there, meaning you won't know what you don't know until you actually focus on it. I think a lot of people, like I said, they just kind of think of technology as sort of like this this back burner thing. It's an afterthought. But
Yeah,
what I'm finding and what I'm seeing with a lot of businesses is they don't realize how much efficiency they can gain. I mean, there's a lot of small business owners I see that still do a lot of things manually.
yep,
When I'm like, man, there's so many like really available and reasonably priced resources out there that could be automating something for you. So you're not spending 4 to 5 hours manually processing orders through emails or text. I mean, it's
yeah,
crazy to me if somebody still does that, because there's a lot of data capture options out there that can automate that for you, so you don't have to spend time going through emails and text messages
yeah,
manually.
yeah. No, I totally agree. I mean, everything has information travels so much faster now. That's what I can tell you. And people expect information to go from here to there. When I remember when we first started, emails would take like 5 minutes to upload and then 10 minutes to download. Now,
Dial up.
yeah, dial up. And now we're like sending like gigabytes of information through, sources and clouds. It's just like it can be overwhelming. And if that's not your forte, if you're not into technology, I definitely recommend Vera to any person or small business who are looking to just understand what is available and opportunities they can do by advancing in technology. And then for those who are even thinking about scaling, it's really important that you put in the processes and for workflows that allows you time to focus on your business and not work in your business. So I think that's very, very important points that you pulled out. And I'm really keen to see what your clients are receiving, because it seems your approach, even your approach in the way that you have conversations with your clients just to find out what it is that they need, it's different for every person and different organization. I think that's a really big highlight for your company, and that you do that for them, because it really shows that you care, that your end goal and the outcome for them is success, and you're willing to work for that, for both parties to be successful. So thank you for sharing that. And then for you, Vera, if someone was to be, do you have any social media handles or a website that people can visit if they wanted to get in contact with you, or even start out the conversation about if they would, if they have needs that you can find solutions for?
Oh yeah, yeah. So I mean, I'm on Facebook, obviously, under my
Yeah.
name, Vera Valencia Takakura, and then of course, I have a website. It's vnexuspro.com, and again, it's like my goal is to take the mystery out of IT, and helping to make that conversation easier. Um, and so, so that way, if sometimes people feel a little intimidated or actually feel kind of like I don't know what to ask or how to phrase that, or I'm not really sure how to describe that, I'm happy to just have a quick call and say, okay, well, what it is that you're trying to do with your business, let me see if there's something out there that could help you on that. I'm more than willing to just have that initial consultation. It costs nothing, to have that maybe 5 or 10 minute conversation to see if I can help. And like I said, if we find out that someone needs a little bit more advanced support, then I'm happy to assist in any way I can. And I've mentioned, because I've worked in the bigger and larger corporate environments, most of my knowledge comes from sort of supporting those types of business environments. But I'm scaling it back. I'm scaling it down to the small business owner, which in a way it's good because I have the bigger picture, um, perception of how to get things done. But I can scale it down to the small business owner and that environment.
Awesome. That's so wonderful. I think that's so important that what you're doing and just giving people the freedom to just call you. I mean, that's what we're all reaching for now. Just be able to talk to someone and work out problems, and then if there's something that you can provide, that's when you'll offer them something, because there's something that you know that they can't do on their own. And I think that's a really testament of how much passion you are in helping other people. I do want to ask you a couple of things before we close out. Um, for like again, we touched up lightly in the beginning of our interview, but for women or especially Filipinos who are thinking about joining the tech industry, is there any advice or tips that you can give them about preparing them for this industry, or any words of encouragement for them?
Um, well, I, I think it's just that there's a lot of resources now to be able to learn and pick up education. And when I say that, I mean, funny thing is, for the DIYers out there, if you're sitting there going, "Oh, I want to use Shopify. I don't know how to use it," but you want to take the initiative and see if you can figure it out yourself. There's a ton of how-to videos. There's a ton of people who just teach by default, and it's free. I mean, it really is. I mean, there's a lot of resources online. Udemy is a really great site for purchasing classes on things, and they're usually like less than $20. And it'll be a class on how to create a web front end, the back end, a web
Mhm.
application, and stuff like that. So if you feel like you have the initiative and the passion to want to learn, the information's out there. It's not like you have to go to a special school or get a master's in it. I mean, that was the beauty of IT back in the day when it was brand new,
Yeah.
really brand new, where it's like there was no degree really for some of the stuff that was being done. Most technology, especially when it's brand new or cutting edge, there is no body of knowledge for it yet. You're pretty much leading that or trailblazing that, and forging the path for that. So anyone who's willing to and has the passion to learn, the information is out there. It's just up to you to tap into it. And ideally, when I talk to people, I that's the reason for the conversation. It's like weighing whether you have the initiative to want to do it yourself, or would you rather just say, hey, that's not my
Yeah.
forte, that's not my wheelhouse. I think I better consult with somebody on that. So I think being able to have that discernment is really key.
No, I think that's great. I mean, yeah, resources and information are at our fingertips. It's so easy to learn with YouTube and blogs and just information available. And like you mentioned, like technology, it continues to evolve, and it's for innovators and creators who can think of the impossible and then make it happen. If you have a passion to learn, a passion to be creative, a passion to give back, that's all the elements of being a tech savant. I mean, you see what Elon Musk is doing. You see what uh, um, what's his name, Jeff Bezos is doing. They've implemented their companies in so many variety of industries, and it catapulted them into some of the major arenas, and now they're disruptors in a lot of different industries. And I think it's great that we're teaching or encouraging others to really just, if you want to do something, your passion will drive you far more than an education. You can achieve anything as long as you really put your mind to it.
Yeah, well,
So
I
with
mean, I think that was the critical thing I learned during the pandemic and being unemployed. never underestimate what you know and what you might think you might be able to leverage for yourself. We're all conditioned into thinking there's only one way to get things done, and
Yeah,
I think I always assumed my experience would only work in a larger corporate environment, but obviously the timing and conditions have to be right sometimes. But if I kept thinking that way, I would never have started my own business. So
yeah,
sometimes it really just takes sitting with yourself and understanding, you know, observing what's going on around you and seeing if there's opportunities, because more likely than not, there's opportunity everywhere.
yeah,
It's just a matter of, you know, sitting with it and thinking about, you know, hey, do I have to do it this way, or are there other better ways to do it? And I think, you know, that's another key thing I'm going to mention about what you asked about, what you know, what advice or what you know, people who are thinking of going into technology,
yeah.
you know, might want to know about. So that's one thing I really, that's something I really noticed, and I'm thankful to have realized in this if nothing else in this pandemic.
Yeah. No, I think that's important. I mean, yeah, I think that's some great points. We all learned some new skills and things about ourselves, and I think it's important to find out the purpose of why you're doing the things you're doing, and then just being observant. Like you said, there's opportunities everywhere. Sometimes we miss it because we're not really looking. But when you read between the lines, you look at like what's available, and then you question and try to find out solutions for yourself. You'll find a lot of ways to be successful as an entrepreneur. So again, thank you, Vera, for being here. I know you're busy and you have clients, and everyone's really, like starting to get back into normalcy. But before you go, is there any like final thoughts that you want to share with our viewers?
um, just that, as I mentioned again, there's a lot of resource out there, and you know, a lot of people don't, you know, it's just taking initiative to tap into those things. Again, you know, like I mentioned, I did the SMBG program a couple of months ago, and that was something I would never have done in a different life. But you know, trying to explore how to, you know, to survive beyond, you know, some of the limitations that we ran into last year, that was really key. So just wanted to shout out Coach Jay Kino and his team out there, and everyone that I met, including you, from that program. And again, just really honored to be able to represent, you know, again, the small business, you know, owner Asian community and women-owned business through you.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get Jay on here so he can talk to people. He's a really good guy and just has some of the great
Absolutely.
things. Yeah. So yeah, thank you, Vera, for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. You're our first techie on here, so I'm so glad that some of our people, our viewers, are going to be able to see the potential in the tech industry, and hopefully some will reach out to you and just even for some mentoring and just learning about what it is that you do. So thank you again for being on here. It's a pleasure, and I hope I have you on the show again.
Okay, appreciate it, and happy to help. So anybody, you know, who has any tech needs, or just, you know, thinking about what do I need for my business, please feel free to reach out. I'm always available, and um, happy to assist any way I can.
Perfect. Thank you, Vera.
All right.
So again, thank you again for all the viewers who spent a little of your time today with us. I hope you gained some positive insights and knowledge about the importance of building confidence to stand proud against all the obstacles. Stories like Vera are very important. They show us and highlight because they show us the opportunities that are available to us, and they come when it's the most inconvenient. However, with a powerful mindset and a passion to learn, we can achieve to be anything that we want. Um, the term female shouldn't be thought of with surprise when paired with terms like IT consultant, CEO, business owner, but it is. And females are much qualified to share their expertise and their perspective, and they can't leave everything us to men. We need these type of representation and perspectives to have a great influence on things that we're doing for the future. But I'm really grateful on having Vera on here to share her story and her perspectives. I hope each one of you have found your challenges and find ways to break them down. Nothing is impossible, and with the right energy and focus, you can become anything you want. So before we end today's show, I do want to acknowledge that our next show will be our season finale. It will be on July 28th, and we have an amazing Filipina who has been diligent in her service to the Filipino community as a nurse, an entrepreneur, a business owner, and of course, a volunteer. This will be a great show, and I wanted to invite all of my viewers to tune in to wrap up this season of celebrating Filipino entrepreneur. This project has been a blessing in disguise, and for many people, especially myself, I'm really thankful for everyone's support. The last 14 guest appearances, these shows couldn't have been possible without everyone's participation, and I can't believe that we've come to the end. But check us out. It's going to be in 2 weeks, July 28th. But my name is Alvin Adriano, a Filipino entrepreneur, an advocate for our community. And if you love what you hear today, please hashtag celebrate and let's keep inspiring each other. But thank you so much for joining our show today on celebrating Filipino entrepreneurs. Till next time, mabuhay.